Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Shout out Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Get on by and see them. Government between Foster and Jefferson. Delicious jumbo Gulf shrimp, crispy fried catfish, shoestring fries, honey butter rolls, beignet bites. They got it all over there at Corks, including your sauces. They got your classics, your tartar sauce, your cocktail sauce. Also got you covered with their famous Cork sauce as well. Go see them, corksfishandshrimp.com. Caleb Jackson is going to answer the transfer portal. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. Plus, does LSU need to get involved with Bryce Underwood? We can do that in 30 minutes. But I want to start with LSU and SMU tomorrow in the Smoothie King Center. I've alluded to this multiple times this week, but this is a me thing, not a you thing, not a demand thing. It's a Hunt thing. Hunt needs LSU to play really good basketball tomorrow. I'm still hopeful about this team. I'm still hopeful about this program. You may share those sentiments. You may think they're ridiculous. Either one is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I'm hopeful. I think there are some pieces on this team that give me that hope. I think watching the SEC this year gives me that hope because I don't think it's a league that is nearly as loaded as it was last year. But you cannot, if you're LSU, smoke a bunch of terrible teams, get crushed by Texas Tech and crushed by SMU, and have me, Hunt Palmer, fired up for what's to come in January and February. Can't happen. I want so badly for LSU to be playing meaningful basketball in February. I want so badly for them to make the NCAA tournament. We talked to Matthew Burney on Wednesday. He said he thinks they're a tournament team. I'm not going to go that far. I was startled by last Sunday against Texas Tech. Startled. Now, I've told you multiple times, I think that was a perfect storm where you couldn't throw it in the ocean, and Texas Tech made 8 of 9 threes, and once that happened, you were toast. But I can't have it happen twice because you're playing two teams in the non-conference that are good. One of them crushed you. Here's the other one. It's SMU in the blender, doubleheader tomorrow. This SMU team, I'll tell you about them, and then I'll get to some keys. Andy Infield's their head coach. Dunk City head coach at Florida Gulf Coast when they went on that run, won 2 games, made the Sweet 16, beat Georgetown. Then he went out to USC for a little while. Now he's at SMU, and he's a good coach. They're 9-1, and interestingly and coincidentally, they are now playing their 4th straight SEC team. They played Mississippi State on the road, they played Vanderbilt on the road, and they played Texas A&M. And they have won 2 of those games. They beat Mississippi State in overtime, 87-81. They went to Vanderbilt and got smacked by 19 points. And they played A&M over the weekend on Sunday and beat them in overtime, 93-80. So they've already beaten Mississippi State and A&M. They've proven they can play. Vanderbilt got after them a little bit, and Vanderbilt's metrics are through the roof right now. We'll see what they are when they get to SEC play, but they had their way with SMU. This is a team that is 62nd in the country in offensive efficiency, but these 2 stats, there's 3 stats that really tell their story. They are 13th in the country in possessions. That would make sense if you just go back to Andy Infield's Dunk City team at Florida Gulf Coast. They were running, they were throwing alley-oops, they were getting up and down the floor. And this SMU team is 13th in the country in possessions. They want to go. And Nightmare Man does too. Whether or not he's got the horses to do that all the time can be debated, but he likes to go. Points per game, SMU is 15th in the country. That's a product of good basketball and getting up and down the floor. And then here's the number. 16th in the country in made free throws per game. LSU is 14th. These 2 teams have lived early in the season at the free throw line. You cannot allow that if you're LSU. You cannot allow that. You've got to find a way to cut off dribble penetration, contest shots at the rim, and do not let them parade to the free throw line and outshoot you there. LSU wants to do it. SMU wants to do it. Got to win that matchup. It's not a great SMU defensive team. It's not a bad one. They're 63rd in the country in defensive efficiency. But this is a team that wants to play fast and wants to get to the free throw line. Now, what do you have to play fast? It's mandatory. Guards. They got them at SMU. Boopy Miller, you'll remember that name tomorrow when the TV comes on. You go, oh, yeah, Hunt's talked about Boopy. Boopy Miller is a 6-foot guard. He's a senior. He's averaging 20.5 points per game. He's shooting 40% from three. He's shooting 93% from the free throw line. Boopy can fill it up. Boopy had 19 on A&M. He made 10 free throws in that game for 19 points. He had 17 on Vandy. They played Mississippi State. He scored 28 points with 5 threes. And oh, by the way, Boopy's getting buckets, 20 points per game. He's also had 3 10-plus assist games. De'Don Thomas Jr., Boopy Miller, point guards, go get them. I believe this. I believe LSU is a very good point guard. I believe De'Don Thomas is very good. John Rothstein's tweeted about him a couple times, said, hey, this guy's playing at all SEC level. Now, he didn't in the game against Texas Tech. Not even close. You're playing a good point guard in this game. De'Don Thomas got to show up. Got to play some defense. Got to keep Boopy Miller off the foul line. And got to match him. Bucket for bucket, assist for assist. You got to find a way to keep LSU engaged with him. And their other guard is Jerron Pierre. You may think, I've heard of him. I see my guy Jordan Kitchen say, I've heard of him.
That's St. Aug?
St. Aug.
Oh, wow.
St. Aug. Here's the track. St. Aug to Southern Miss to Wichita State
Good
to
Lord.
Jacksonville State to SMU.
He's been everywhere.
He's been everywhere, man. He's been everywhere. Johnny Cash style. Now, Jerron Pierre got 35 points on Texas A&M. Getting buckets.
He was always good.
This is my great stat on Jerron Pierre. In the 3 SEC games, my man, St. Aug's finest, 60 points and 2 assists.
Hey, all buckets. I ain't passing it.
Buckets. I love it. 35 points on Texas A&M. But Boopy Miller and Jerron Pierre are really good guards. And LSU, you got to play some defense. My biggest concern with LSU is not the Texas Tech game. It's not Jalen Reed going down. My biggest concern with LSU on the floor moving forward is playing defense at the guard spots. De'Don Thomas is a little undersized, and he's not the most explosive athlete. Good player, but he plays at his pace with his style. And then Max McKinnon is not a good defender. And I'm concerned about LSU's ability to play defense on the wing. Like, PJ Carter's not a great defender either. He's a three-point shooter. And you got Boopy Miller and Jerron Pierre that can really score. So LSU's guards have to play better defense. Texas Tech, you let a guy get going, and you couldn't shut it off. He went for almost 30 points on you. Got to play perimeter defense if you're LSU. Now, here's the deal for the Tigers as well, off SMU. I did a little bit of cheating here, but I'm admitting to the cheating so you'll understand. I took out the overtime period at BC. LSU played great in overtime at BC. They made every field goal and every free throw that they shot, and they won the game. And that's awesome. But I omitted that for effect. Okay? So I've admitted to cheating. Just let me cook. At BC in the second half, if you take that half, and then you take the 2 halves against Texas Tech. So 3 halves of basketball, chop off the overtime in BC. LSU is shooting 31% from the floor over 3 halves. That's 30 of 97, 31%. They are 5 of 35 from the three-point line. That is 14%. They've scored 82 points in those 3 halves. That would be an average of 57 points per game. 82 points. That will not hunt. It's just not good enough. And I talked about this on the story I wrote for LouisianaSports.net and on Friday's show last week when I was talking about this game with Texas Tech. I'm going, you've got to make some jump shots because LSU has made a ton of hay in these games against these bad non-conference teams of tossing it down to Nwoku and getting second chance opportunities and scoring in the paint over smaller, less athletic bigs. SMU's got a 7-footer down there. Like, he's going to take up some space. You can't just own the paint, own the block, win on second chance points, out-rebound Alcorn State by 20, and get it done. You got to make some shots from the perimeter, or you can't keep up. And they have guys that can do it. I've watched them do it. I've watched Max McKinnon be a good shooter in individual games. He was against Charleston State. He made 6 threes in a home game in November. I've seen De'Don Thomas make jump shots. I know that Markel Sutton can make shots and can create his own shot. I know P.J. Carter at 3 different college stops has been a dead-eye shooter. You can make shots. You have some guys on this team that can do it. But if you continue to go out there like they have in those last 3 halves and shoot 31% from the floor, even on open looks, and shoot 14% from 3, you have no chance. And I just don't believe that's what LSU is. I don't think they're that bad. I think they've played that bad for 3 halves, sans overtime in Boston. It has to change tomorrow because I don't think you're going to beat SMU with Boopy Miller and Jerron Pierre on the perimeter and what LSU's got, in my opinion, on defense. I don't think you're going to beat them 63-59. I just don't. I think to win this game, you've got to score 78 points. You might have to score 84. Like, it might be up and down. There are going to be possessions. There are going to be shots to be had, and you're going to have to go do it. Vandy scored 88 on this team. Mississippi State scored in the mid-70s in regulation. That's never been an offensive program under Chris Jans. But you have to make shots to do it. You can't do everything at the rim. You can do everything at the rim against Tarleton State. You can do everything at the rim against UNO. You can't do everything at the rim against Texas Tech and SMU. So tomorrow, in the blender, LSU and SMU, it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a fun game to watch. But LSU's got to play some defense on these guys, win the free throw line battle. I'm going to bring up the free throw stat on Monday when we break this game down. I will bring it up. You have to win that stat. And you got to make some shots. If you go 4 for 24 again from 3, you will lose by 10 points, at least. Got to make some. So we'll see. LSU and SMU tomorrow from New Orleans. I think it's a big one for the Tigers. All right, Jordan, producer's choice. You want Bryce Underwood or transfer portal next?
Bryce Underwood.
We're doing it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is the website. Look, roofing's important in South Louisiana. It just is. So take it seriously. If you think there may be an issue, you notice something when it rains, or you just feel like it might be a good time while it's not storm season to get somebody to check things out, Lifetime Roofing is happy to come and do an inspection. They'll give you, at the very least, peace of mind. If not, telling you that, hey, something's wrong, we need to handle this. It could just be a repair. It could be a new roof. But Lifetime Roofing is happy to help you out with that. Your roof protects your home. That could be your greatest investment. It also protects the people under said roof. Take it seriously with the folks at Lifetime Roofing. They offer replacements, repairs, tune-ups. They can do it all for you. They've also been involved in our community. Their core values are customer service, quality, and integrity. They take pride in setting themselves apart from other companies by being involved in the community here in Baton Rouge. They give roof giveaways every single year. They do military giveaways every single year. They help those in need this time of year. It's a pillar of our community here at Lifetime Roofing. They're based in Baton Rouge. They help out the entire state of Louisiana as well as over in Houston. So if you're looking for some help with your roof, check out Lifetime Roofing and do it at lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Talk about LSU's running back situation coming up in 15 minutes. Right now, let's talk about a complete hypothetical. I mean a complete hypothetical, but that's kind of the time of year that we're in at this point. A lot of hypotheticals out there. We feel like LSU is going to be heavy in the market for a quarterback. Right now, you've got Michael Van Buren, and that's it. Because Garrett Nussmeier is out of eligibility, and Colin Hurley's away from the team. So right now, you've got Michael Van Buren, and that's it. That won't get it done. And they did not sign one in the early signing period from high school. So you've got extensive work to do in the transfer portal. Now, if you want to be an LSU fan and go, oh, let's just get Trinidad Chambliss, fine. Like, maybe, but we'll explore some other options in case Trinidad Chambliss, 1, wants to stay at Ole Miss, or 2, doesn't win his appeal and has no more eligibility left. LSU's going to have contingency plans for all of that. Bryce Underwood's interesting. And I want to be clear. Bryce Underwood's not in the transfer portal. He is not. He's at Michigan. He's their starting quarterback. They went 9-3. They got a bowl game to prepare for. Now, Their world got flipped upside down yesterday, and their coach was in a jumpsuit at an arraignment today. He won't be back. But Underwood's the quarterback at Michigan and is not in the portal. But I'm a talk show host, so we can discuss options. We can discuss hypotheticals. We can discuss what ifs. And this is one of them. Because quarterbacks whose coaches get fired sometimes transfer or get in the portal. And programs with not enough quarterbacks go after quarterbacks. And the question is, does Bryce Underwood fit at LSU now? There are a lot of layers to this. I think the first layer, if he goes in the transfer portal, is money. Bryce Underwood signed what we believe to be a $10 to $12 million deal at Michigan. This deal was signed during the Wild Wild West period, where you could just build up cash in a collective and dump it on whoever you wanted. As much as you want, whenever you want, go. And that's when Larry Ellison, his wife wanted a quarterback. He's got almost $400 billion before yesterday's crash. And he bought her a quarterback. Merry Christmas, babe. I went to Illinois. I don't care. But if you want a quarterback, here's your quarterback. And Michigan spent $12 million on a high school quarterback. If Bryce Underwood leaves Michigan, he's going to leave that deal. And he can't recover that deal. It's not like a baseball player opting out of his contract and going to get more money. Those rules aren't in place. So if he were to agree to a $10 million deal over the next 3 seasons with another team, the clearinghouse is going to have to determine whether or not that's legitimate. And maybe they could find a way to do that, but it is in question. It was not in question when he got that deal at Michigan. So that is obstacle number one, layer number one on this whole thing. Money matters, and if Bryce Underwood wants the most money, which he took out of high school, he's got to stay at Michigan. Now, the second piece to this is the fact that Bryce Underwood's ties to LSU largely rested with Joe Sloan. Not entirely, but there's Brian Kelly, there's Joe Sloan. That was the offensive brain trust and the quarterback position. They're gone. So the tether there that was holding off Michigan, the home state team, to get his commitment is not there anymore. That's obstacle number 2 for LSU. I don't know if he was recruited by Ole Miss. I don't know if he knows Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. I'm unaware, but what he was looking for at LSU is not there. Number 3, there's a difference in signing a high school quarterback with a bright future to bring into your program right behind your 5th-year senior quarterback, which was LSU's plan with Bryce Underwood. There's a difference in that process and selecting your quarterback for the 2026 season. Those are 2 different things. We know a lot more about Bryce Underwood today than we did a year ago. He started a season at Michigan, and his numbers were underwhelming. Bryce Underwood at Michigan this year, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Michigan football. I've said that candidly. But this year at Michigan, Bryce Underwood completed 61.1% of his passes for 2,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 6 picks. That is pedestrian work. Now, he's a true freshman. I get it. And I don't think Sharon Moore's offense is any good. They couldn't complete a forward pass last year, and they weren't much better this year. Jim Harbaugh left, and that program offensively went into a ditch. So he's still big. He can still run. He's still got a cannon, throws a really nice ball. But you know more about him now. 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 2,200 yards per game on 60% completion. For comparison's sake, this is the past, and these options aren't available to LSU directly now, but I'm just looking at some of the big-time quarterbacks that have gone to places for big money to be the starter. Like Carson Beck at Georgia before he went to Miami threw for 3,400 yards and 28 touchdowns last year. That's 19 more touchdowns than Underwood threw for. John Mateer at Washington State threw for almost 1,000 more yards. He threw for 29 touchdowns at Washington State last year. That's who Oklahoma targeted. Cam Ward was about the same at Washington State when he went to Miami. Like when you're picking your quarterback for the next season, there are generally guys available to thrown for 3,000 yards and thrown for 30 touchdowns and have been massively productive, and Underwood is not that. Now, those guys are older than Underwood, and I'm sure didn't light it up their freshman season. I'm not here to tell you that Bryce Underwood's bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't think that at all. I think he was a very young quarterback in a terrible offensive system at a very difficult spot. And I thought they won a lot of games. But you're usually shopping year to year for these quarterbacks, and there is probably going to be a handful of quarterbacks into the portal that have been far better and are far more progressed for Labor Day weekend next year than Bryce Underwood. So what do you want to do? I got asked about Bryce Underwood earlier this week, and I'm open about this. Like, LSU football is important. I like it. When players choose other schools, I don't like that. Now, I realize that I'm not disliking them as a person. I'm all for Harold Perkins flipping from Texas A&M from Houston and coming to LSU. I'm all for Jaden Daniels leaving Arizona State and coming here. I'm all for DJ Pickett spurning in-state schools as a 5-star to come play here. I don't like it when Louisiana kids leave. It's not a rational take. It's an emotional take. It just is what it is. And when Bryce Underwood's committed for a year and then flips to Michigan, like, that makes me cranky. It probably makes a lot of you cranky. I said this on the air. I was like, look, I hope this guy makes a 4.0, meets the love of his life, and has a wonderful college experience in Michigan. I'm not pulling for him to complete a lot of passes or win a lot of games. It's an unreasonable take. It's potentially a pathetic take. But I'm not going to hide behind the microphone and go, oh, just do whatever you want. I like LSU. I want LSU to win. So Bryce Underwood spurned LSU. That hurts. It does. Would you take him back is the question. I think ultimately the answer is yes, you would. Because he's super talented and you trust that coach, Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss. If you can take a D3 transfer and finish in the top 15 of the Heisman and make the playoffs, what can you do with a guy with that kind of talent? It's pretty enticing. If you feel like LSU can field better receiving core with a better coaching staff than Michigan, what's the ceiling on Bryce Underwood for 2 more years? You take it. But with all that said, I don't know what the options are. And if you lay out the transfer portal options, I may choose differently. If you tell me next year for your team at quarterback, you want Trinidad Chambliss or Bryce Underwood, I'm taking Trinidad Chambliss. It may be stupid. NFL scouts would probably think that was ridiculous. But I've watched Trinidad Chambliss play in the SEC, go up and down the field on Georgia, beat LSU with Blake Baker's defense. I've watched it. I know it's good. I'll take it. I think Bryce Underwood's good. I don't know it. And I know that Bryce Underwood's got more eligibility left than Trinidad Chambliss. But if I'm taking the sure thing. I'm a chalk guy. Give me what I know. So I think LSU fans would be split on this. I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek when I talk about the recruiting thing there. I realize kids have options. They do the best thing for them. No one's ever asked me if I wanted to leave where I was for $12 million. Got it. I'm being tongue-in-cheek there. But there is an element of emotional being scorned by football players that leave. And you'd have to repair that in Baton Rouge. It would be repaired pretty quickly if you go out there and throw 3 touchdowns in the first half against Clemson. Pretty quick. But it's an interesting thing in this new era of college athletics where we've heard Shea Dixon say this on Matt's show on AFR, like, there is a value in coming in second in recruiting races now. There was never a value in coming in second previously. There is now. We know Bryce Underwood likes LSU, likes Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, and came here a lot. Now, we know he liked Joe Sloan. We know he was good to play for Brian Kelly. But then Oracle came in and pried him away. It'd be very, very interesting if he went in the portal and LSU became an option. And if that happens and there are options, we'll explore them and I'll give you my honest take on it. It's a wild new world in college football, but there are obstacles and layers to Bryce Underwood's next 6 weeks. And we'll just have to watch as he traverses it. Maybe he comes out after Michigan hires a coach and says, yeah, I'm here. And this discussion was moot. Maybe in the next 10 days, you get a tweet out that says, oh, Bryce Underwood transfer portal. And then we'll start the speculation rampantly around here. Just thought I'd kick things off here on a Friday. We'll see. Come back and talk about LSU's running backs. 2 of them in the portal in the last 2 days. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. You got $12 million bucks. Looking for somewhere to put it? First American Bank and Trust. More importantly, if you're a business, you're a homeowner, and you're looking for a loan, commercial loan, personal loan, homeowner's loan, First American Bank and Trust is happy to help you. Why would you do business with First American Bank and Trust? Well, they've been doing it for 115 years. They know what they're doing. They've got 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. They've got a lot of assets behind them. This is not some mom and pop shop around the corner, but it feels like that when you walk in because of the people that you deal with. They are in our community each and every day. Every single decision First American Bank and Trust makes is made locally here in Southeast Louisiana. Every single call center that you call is here in Southeast Louisiana. These are people you walk around with every day. You're not calling Seattle. You're not calling Atlanta. You're not calling San Francisco. You're not getting unlimited recordings and robots and somebody that doesn't know where you are. You're getting people that are here. That's the beauty of doing business with First American Bank and Trust. So if you're looking for a residential loan, you're looking for a commercial loan, do it with the folks that have 25 locations here and have been at it for over 100 years. It's First American Bank and Trust.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, we got about 25 minutes left to go here on this Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I hope your weekend's already started. If it hasn't, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Talked a little basketball earlier, talked a little football there in the transfer portal. Speaking of said portal, LSU's had a couple running backs go in the last 48 hours. Yesterday, Juwan Johnson decided to jump in. Talked about him yesterday, where it's just a guy who's done everything LSU has asked of him and probably wants a little bit more stability, and I cannot fault him for that at all. Caleb Jackson is the other running back in that room who just hasn't found his way to the field. And it appears there was a conversation in late September of this year where the agreement was made to preserve Caleb Jackson's red shirt. Because at some point, he would have likely gotten a carry or two here or there down the stretch, and that never happened. He played in his 4 games. That's all he's allotted with his red shirt. And LSU said, okay, we'll let you preserve that red shirt. And now he'll jump into the transfer portal. It's been an interesting go for Caleb Jackson. He came onto the scene in 2023 as a reserve back. He was behind Josh Williams and showed some highlight plays. I mean, you all know the play he made when he got into the open field and flattened that Mississippi State defender on the left sideline. You saw some speed on the punt return. I loved the spark he showed in the bowl game against Wisconsin in Nussmeier's only start, got in the end zone and scored 4 times. And you really saw that combination that he's got of size, power, and speed, which is a special combination. But he just couldn't find his way as a power back in this LSU offense. You saw Josh Williams early in the season until he tore his ACL. John Emery take those carries 2 years ago, and then you saw Caden Durham kind of burst onto the scene against South Carolina. And so Williams and Durham carried those carries last year. And then this year it was Durham, and then Harlan Berry broke in, and Juwan Johnson got those carries. And Jackson just kind of got boxed out a little bit. And when you talk to people that watch a lot more tape, a lot more qualified than I do, it's just that he struggles at times to find the hole. And if you're big and strong and fast and don't know exactly where it is that you're trying to get, it doesn't help a lot. And I think that this offense was just a very, very bad fit for Caleb Jackson. I believe, and this could be completely wrong, we'll never know, I believe Caleb Jackson could have been a very productive back in a Les Miles offense. You get in the eye, you put a fullback in front of him, you get 5 road grader offensive linemen pushing forward, creating space, and get him moving downhill. Like, he's a handful. He's a problem. He's going to outrun linebackers. He can run with corners. He's stronger than safeties. Like, he's got a package. But running this zone scheme, running this scheme that doesn't create a lot of space, where LSU constantly has running backs getting hit behind and at the line of scrimmage, You just need to be a little bit shiftier to find grass. And Caden Durham showed that breaking tackles last year, and Harlan Berry certainly got that. Josh Williams had a lot of that. He made an NFL roster doing it. And Jackson just didn't quite have that. And so we talked to him in the spring of this year. And we said, look, did you consider transferring? And he was candid with us. He's like, yeah, I mean, that conversation came up, but ultimately, like, I want to play here. I'm from here. He went to Liberty High right down the street from LSU. I want to play for LSU. It's what I always dreamed of. It's what I want to do. And that's admirable. But what's the first part of that sentence? I want to play. And he just wasn't going to play. And if Caden Durham and Harlan Berry are back, how many carries are available? Especially if you go to the portal, which LSU's going to do, and get a running back. Talking about being fourth on the depth chart in your fourth year of college? Probably not the spot. So Caleb Jackson will look elsewhere, and I'm hopeful he finds a scheme that fits that skill set because it's still there. I just don't think what LSU was doing on the ground the last 2 years really fit what Caleb Jackson's good at. So where does that leave LSU at this point? I mean, it's razor thin, y'all. Trey Holly's gone. He's at Southern. JT Lindsey's still away from the team. Who knows what the future holds there? Juwan Johnson has left. Caleb Jackson has left. All you've got at running back now is Harlan Berry and Caden Durham. That's it. And as we talked to Preston Guy about in the first hour, like, you may change running back coaches. You change running back coaches, that could impact the 2 running backs you have left that signed on to play for Frank Wilson. And that's not a reason to hire a running backs coach. But I'm just fleshing out these situations, exploring these situations. If you change running backs coaches, could you lose one or both of those guys? Like, is it possible in 4 weeks that LSU doesn't have a running back on campus? I would submit yes. I would submit unlikely. I think it's unlikely that LSU has no running backs. But your max is 2, and that's nowhere near enough. So running back becomes absolutely positively, to me, the number 2 priority in this transfer portal cycle as it sits right now. Quarterback is far and away number 1 because you have one guy who hasn't really proven himself to be a high-level SEC quarterback and nothing else because Colin Hurley's away from the team. So you have to address quarterback. That is first, unquestionably. But running back second, because you need at least 3 dudes, if not 4 or 5 in the room, and you've got 2 dudes. So everybody's going to point to Keywan Lacey, and that's awesome, and that's great if it happens. Everybody's going to look at the video that surfaced on the internet yesterday of the recording of Lane on the phone with this kid and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know anything, and we'll wait till Ole Miss finishes their season to kind of figure some of that stuff out and the portal opens. But running back is a huge need. Here's my deal. Lane Kiffin's run the ball no matter who his running back's been. Like, they didn't run it great last year. But pretty much across the board in Oxford, without a 5-star recruit back there, which, by the way, Harlan Berry is, and Caden Durham was close, they've run the ball very well. I think there's scheme in that. I think there's development of the offensive line in that. I think there's space creating and tempo that Lane Kiffin's able to get to that helps you run the ball. And I think that he'll find a back. But you've got to add more bodies to that room because you look up and you've got 2 scholarship running backs on your team that are potentially linked to your running backs coach, whose future is rocky here. That's a shaky spot. But the portal can cure everything. The portal can quite literally cure any roster woe if you execute properly in that. LSU has shown a propensity for that last year. Lane Kiffin has shown a propensity for that this year. He's told you in the introductory press conference, hey, I know it was available to us at the last place I was. I know what this place looks like out there in the recruiting circles. We'll be okay with getting players. And I trust that. But it's still a little unsettling to look at the running back situation and go, well, you got 2 on scholarship. Do you have 1 signed in this class? Nope. Do you know what JT Lindsey's future is? Nope. Lot to fix there for Lane Kiffin and this offensive staff. We'll see if he can get an offensive line, a running backs coach in place. And then got to figure out who the rest of your backs are going to be. But we got time. Got a couple of weeks before we sort all that out. So Juwan Johnson, Caleb Jackson in the transfer portal for LSU. Looking for LSU coverage? You can find it. Hunt on LSU on YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. if you're looking for LSU and that's really all you care about, don't want to hear much about the black and gold, not as keen on some of the other things that we talk about here, certainly basketball, you can find our stuff at Hunt on LSU on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. We're going to come back, close things out with some Take it or Leave It coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space can be a big, big deal. It wasn't something I ever considered, but I was in the old house, and then girlfriend, soon to be fiance, and then wife moved in, and she goes, "This is not going to work." So we knew kid number 2 was coming, and so we knew we were going to move, and we moved, and we worked out our closet situation that way. You don't have to move to work out your closet situation. If you refinanced 3 or 4 years ago and you've got 2.25%, and you're not going anywhere, but your closet space needs some work, David Duvall and his team can come in. They can customize a closet space exactly for you. It starts with a consultation that's free. That starts with a questionnaire, and you look at what you're trying to put in there, how many pairs of shoes you got, how many suits you got, where you're putting your jackets, and they'll put something together perfectly designed for you, and aesthetically, it will look fantastic. Go see the pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com. Request that consultation, understand that financing is available, and know that David Duvall and his team are going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find that website at onebathandclosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Weekend is here, at least for me. I hope that's the case for you. Hope it's been that way for hours now. But if it's not, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. One more reminder, our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Christmas party coming up, or especially if you got a big group, family members coming over for the holidays and don't really want to dirty the kitchen too much, don't want to spend all your time at the kitchen, rather relax and enjoy some family time, let Corks do the cooking for you. They're happy to feed in bulk, whether you've got just a small gathering of 5 or 6 people or you got the whole family coming over. Corks can do it either way. They're happy to feed in bulk. It's from the folks that brought you Kuyans across the river. They have done catering for years and years and years over at Kuyans and specialize it at Corks as well. Get those trays of crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, fries, hush puppies. They can do it all for you there at Corks. Load you down with their sauces. It's a great option. So go check it out online at corksfishandshrimp.com. They're on Government between Foster and Jefferson. It is Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. They bring you our Friday shows. Been a fun week. It's kind of a slower time right now, especially with LSU football. I don't know that there's a ton of folks that are just locked in on the Texas Bowl. This is a time of year where usually we would be locked in on that. It's just not. We'll talk about it at the end of next week a little bit with LSU and Houston. I don't know anything about Houston other than Willie Fritz is their head coach and Connor Wigman's their quarterback. I don't know what their record is. I don't know who they beat or lost to. I don't know anything about Houston football as we sit here today. I'll brush up on that as we move forward into next week, and we'll get to that eventually. But I think right now, kind of all eyes are on LSU finishing out this coaching staff for football. All eyes are certainly on what is going to happen in the transfer portal. Right now, it's all defections because nobody can get in, go anywhere, visit, or do anything. It's all people that are leaving. And then you'll move into bowl season. You'll quickly get into the portal, and then I guess we'll get close to baseball. But I'm going to try to keep up with basketball every step of the way. I talked about LSU and SMU on the hardwood coming up on Saturday night in the blender. Did that at the top of hour number 2. So I'm hopeful for tomorrow. We'll see how things go. But for right now, let's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
I'll tell you what, Flight by Yingling's not too far off in my future. It's going to happen if you're looking for something cold and delicious to drink this weekend. How about Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer? You're talking about 95 calories. You're talking about 2.6 carbs. Everything you're looking for in a light beer, including all that flavor. Yingling's the oldest brewery in America, still family-owned and operated to this day. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so maybe Phillip Rivers has been inspiring people in the NBA as 40-year-old Paul Pierce has come out and said
heavens.
he can guard this version of LeBron James right now. Quote, Pierce said, not LeBron's last game, but the last 3 games before that, I can guard him. The last game he was referring to, LeBron had 19 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists with 3 blocks. Is the truth speaking the truth? Take it or leave it.
I will leave it. The truth needs to chill out. I don't know if the truth was a lockdown defender back in his day.
Not even close.
He could get a bucket, but he wasn't trying to lock anybody down. He's
close.
Sure as heck getting shed in the suit, putting on a pair of sneakers and going to guard LeBron right now. That's a bad take, Paul.
I don't know. Maybe Phillip Rivers, he's just inspiring everybody to get back into it. So, unfortunately, my cousin, North Carolina's offensive coordinator, Freddie Kitchens, will not return next season. The school announcing his departure after a 4-8 season of Bill Belichick, blah, blah, blah. North Carolina offense was one of the worst in the country, ranking 119th in the FBS.
That's close to the bottom.
Very abysmal. Is this the end of my cousin? Take it or leave it.
No, leave it. He's still got something to live for. I'm just not going to be in Chapel Hill calling ball plays. I don't. Is this a crime? Is this a crime? I don't give a rip about Bill Belichick, his girlfriend, or North Carolina football. I'm out. I don't care. I'm not going to watch them. Yeah. I'm not going to gamble on them. They're not going to win. I don't care. I'm out.
Well, look, you feel the same way a lot of people feel around America. It just feels like a circus. I'll tell you this, Hunt. The problem is because it's Bill Belichick. That's the issue.
It's bizarre. And I was in the first time it broke, hey, he's dating this girl and she's like calling all the shots. Now we're a year into this and I don't care. I'm out.
It's never going to stop.
Jordan.
Jordan. We got Jordans, we got Jordans. She's a Jordan, though, so I don't claim her at all. So I just think the problem with that is Bill Belichick put on this, like I say put on, but he had this persona over the last 20-some years of a shrewd, don't care about nothing. And then now you got a girl younger than me running them around. So, anyways, this one's a little weird. Steelers pass rusher TJ Watt had a successful surgery Thursday to repair a partially collapsed lung that he sustained after a dry needling session at the team practice facility Wednesday. His brother J.J. Watt said on social media, casually having a collapsed lung, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I'm not an MD. I'm not going to be confused for one anytime soon, but that seems not good.
Seems you probably should get that checked out.
I personally prefer my lungs to be inflated.
Yeah.
And not collapsed. And so I don't think I'm going to be too casual about it if it does collapse.
But this is the thing. We've seen this happen before. Remember, this is how Justin Herbert got his start in the NFL. When Tyrod Taylor had a collapse, they was giving some injection and they collapsed his lung.
Well, I guess if you're Tyrod Taylor and you've been in the NFL for 913 years, you're going to suffer every single malady that you can find. And so it's not surprising that Tyrod's had a collapsed
lung. So, TJ Watt, collapsed lung.
Crazy.
That's it for take it or leave it.
All right. Just seeing from Sam Spiegelman, Division II non-select state champions, the Iowa something. They look like LSU, and they got purple and gold. I got the name of the town right. It's Iowa. It's spelled I-O-W-A, which most people would say Iowa. Iowa. I know where it is, know what they're called. I don't know what their team name is, though. But they won state, so congratulations to the kids over there at Iowa. Big weekend down in the Dome. Big weekend for sports in New Orleans. I picked the Saints to win. Do I feel good about that? No, I do not. I do not feel good about it because last time I picked the Saints to win, they got smashed. I think I picked them to beat Atlanta, and it was terrible. And so they need to come out and play a little bit better than that. But there's a chance, as we've talked about, really since August, to build some late season momentum. And I still think, despite their record, that Carolina has some flaws. They're better than I thought. I readily admit that, but I just am not ready to trust Bryce Young to go on the road and do something awesome against the Saints defense. So I think the Saints stay in it. I think they win the game. I did not pick LSU and SMU. And I'm feeling like I probably need to make that pick here in the next 60 seconds.
You got a minute. Let's go.
I didn't pick them to beat Texas Tech, but I thought they'd be a lot more competitive than that. I picked them to lose that game. I'm going to pick them to lose this game, too. I don't want to do that to end the show here on a Friday, but I'm still a little scarred about what we saw in Fort Worth. But I'll tell you this. I'll be really encouraged if they can play that team, that SMU team that plays a high tempo, scores a lot of points, has two really good guards, a 7-footer on the block. If they can play those guys straight up and even beat them, it would be so encouraging and so suggestive that Sunday really was just a perfect storm of Texas Tech hitting a bunch of shots and LSU not being able to shoot at all. I think they'll play better. Certainly my hope. We'll see. That's the two showdowns in New Orleans that we'll be talking about on Monday. We'll also have a Heisman winner, and we'll start getting into the college football playoff on Monday as well. Hope you'll have a great and safe, happy weekend. Matt's going to drive you home next after further review from Marucci. We'll be back on Monday talking about the weekend in sports. Y'all have a happy one and a safe one. Our Friday shows brought to you by Corks.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know the Fabry name. They've been in business here in Baton Rouge for 35 years. But now they've got a point for Chevrolet and GMC. Thinking, well, where is it? It's on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You're going, I know the dealership in St. Francisville on Highway 61. It's not a Fabry. It is now. They started on October 1st, took over, and they've got one of the largest pre-owned and new car lots in the state there at Fabry GMC Chevrolet. If you're looking for Chevy Tahoe, if you're looking for Chevy Silverado, they got them. You're looking for Sierras, Yukons, Denali's on the GMC side, they've got them as well. You know the Fabry family. You know they've been pillars in this community for 3 decades. You know the customer service you're going to get when you deal with a Fabry Automotive Group point. Go to FabryChevrolet.com. Check out that entire inventory. It's vast. And go by and see them Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC.